Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Karen Lee. I'm the CPA administrator for the committee. Tonight we are doing our second session of interviews for grants, and we'll probably just go with the same setup as we have in the agenda in order here. If you do want to reach us at any time, please send an email to cpc@springfieldcityhall.com. Our phone number is 413-530-1268. This meeting is being recorded. You can watch it on our Facebook page or on the YouTube page with Focus Springfield. I think that's it. We really don't have much other than you're it, you guys. We're excited that you're here. Thank you for joining us. And Bob McCarroll is our chair, and I'll turn it over to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Well, welcome everyone. This is the beginning of the 9th year of CPA recommendations. With us are the committee members, Rhonda Sherrill, Steve Bosworth, and Yolanda Consul, who are the neighborhood representatives on the committee. Che Swan representing the Park Commission, Rosemary Moran representing the Planning Board, Juanita Martinez representing the Conservation Commission. We may have a couple of more members zooming in, and I'm Bob McCarroll, and I represent the Springfield Preservation Trust. We are expecting that we will have a little more than $3 million that we can make recommendations to the City Council with. Unfortunately, the 30 or so applicants that are coming in front of us are requesting nearly $8 million. So we have to figure out exactly how we proceed with that. You are the second third of applicants being interviewed. The next third will be, the last third will be on April 7th. And then the committee on April 21st will start its own internal discussion regarding the various projects. We will be voting on recommendations on May 5th, May 19th, and wrapping up on June 2nd. And then we send our recommendations to City Council. We hope that they can act on it prior to their going on their abbreviated summer schedule, but we cannot make any guarantees. It's once it goes to them, it's on their timetable. Whatever they do, and their option is to approve the recommendations as made, approve them with less funding than was made, or not to approve them at all. Those applicants that do get approved, we will be working with the law department to draw up contracts. And then once the contract is signed, the work can proceed. So that's just for probably the earliest will be in the fall. So we're now going to go on to the presentations. You can take up to 5 minutes. Juanita Martinez, it will be your timer. She will give you a warning at the 4-minute mark and tell you when your time is up at the 5-minute mark. Following that, there may be questions from the committee. There could be 1 question, there could be 20 questions. And so we're now ready to begin.
You didn't see me backing out?
Well, may I say one thing before to everyone that's here? It's fine if you don't want to be on camera at this point, but when you are speaking, if you could please turn your camera on so that we can see you, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay, so the first presentation tonight is the Springfield Office of Housing regarding the down payment assistance program.
Are you on mute?
Yeah, and for people who are not presenting, please mute yourself so the background noise doesn't get in the way of the presenters.
Looks like Dr. J. Ellen. There she goes. Or he.
I'm not presenting on this. Bobby DeMusis is, and I had while I was on mute. So go ahead, Bobby.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for your time and for your service on this committee. It's greatly appreciated and greatly needed. I'm here on behalf of the Office of Housing, again, requesting down payment funds for down payment assistance. Our office has long run a HUD-funded down payment assistance program, and the CPC has, for 3 cycles, I believe, also supplemented that. This fiscal year, we have just exhausted our HUD funds. And so we are just going to finish out the fiscal year through June on last year's CPA funds, which are $7,500 down payment and closing cost assistance to first-time home buyers, up to 100% area median income. This year, we're asking, as you know, prices are rising. Interest rates, although they've come down a bit, are still hovering. And the cost of buying your first home is further and further out of reach for many of the Springfield residents. So this year we're asking to increase we're asking for 300,000, and each first-time homeowner would get a loan of $10,000. That $10,000 would require owner occupancy for a period of 10 years, which is an additional 5 years from our current program. There would be no forgiveness over the first 5 years of owner occupancy. And then beginning after, with the completion of year 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, we would take $2,000 and forgive that. If the borrower or the homeowner stayed for 10 years, there would be no repayment. So pretty straightforward. In keeping with what the CPC likes to see, there'll be a longer affordability period. We'll be in effect doubling it. And I'm happy to address any questions or concerns.
Right. Thank you, Bobby. So I would ask that committee members, get my attention first before they ask their questions. So are there any questions among committee people? I see Rhonda's hand up. Rhonda?
Yes, I'd just like to know why they went from the 5-year restriction to the 10-year.
We're going to 10 because we're going to increase the amount that we're giving the person. And so we felt like that would warrant a bigger commitment from the homeowner. Most homeowners, when you buy your first house, you're planning on staying there for 10 years, or close to it. And if you had to leave after 8 years, you would have had a $10,000 interest-free loan, of which 60% would be forgiven because we would take 20% after year 6, 7, and 8. And you would, out of the sales proceeds, 8 years later, hopefully the house was worth more, you would repay 4,000 of that back into the fund to give to another homeowner.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right. And next I want to just introduce Willie Thomas has appeared. Willie is the representative of the Springfield Housing Authority on our committee. So any other questions from committee members? Yolanda?
How many other units have you guys done this with already? Or is this your first, is it something new to what you guys are doing?
No, so before CPC existed, when I bought my first house in 98, the program had already, I got first, I didn't work for the city. Well, I worked for the city, but I was a tree climber. But I got first time home buyer assistance. So for over 30 years, the city has always had a first time home buyer down payment assistance program. Last year, the committee awarded us $202,500, and that was structured as it actually awarded us $200,000, but we had structured it as $7,500 loans per homeowner. And so you remedied that to $202,500, and that let us do 27 homeowners. We've done 13 this year. So we got the money in September, in the fall. It was, I think, around September. We've already closed 13 using the CPA money, $7,500 each. We've got 4 that are pending. We'll probably close in the next 30 days. And so we've got enough money for 10 more between now and, well, in July. We've exhausted our HUD money. We'll get more second week of July when the fiscal year begins, but we'll have this money, 10 more CPA assistants at 7,500, enough for 10 more. But prices have hovered a little bit. It's becoming slightly more of a buyer's market. So we're seeing more activity, more people able to buy. Springtime brings a busier buying season. And so I have no doubt that we'll exhaust those remaining funds before this next period is up.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sure.
And just to expand on that, Yolanda, I think we have funded this program 3 or 4 times since CPA began with its recommendations in 2018. And I also I just saw Judy Prohl, the Historical Commission representative, is somewhere on this screen. So Judy, welcome. All right. So unless there are other questions.
One more question.
Okay.
What is your success rate in all these homeowners? Have they been able to stay in their homes over 10 years, or have some, or this program hasn't been that successful? Do you feel like this has been successful with a lot of your homeowners?
It's absolutely been successful. Before I address that, I just wanted to put one more point in. The HUD funds that have traditionally for 30 years and will continue to fund this can go to homeowners earning up to 80% area median income. CPA funds allow us to go up to 100% area median income. So the benefit of supplementing our HUD funds with your CPA funds, somebody who earns maybe just a little bit more than 80% area median income, we can help that person, where if we only had the HUD funds, we'd be, our hands would be tied. We wouldn't be able to assist them. But to your question, so I mentioned the 13th that have closed this year. We only went to the 10-year forgiveness in July. So we haven't seen 10 years. Anybody who's these 13 homes that are closed and these 4 that are pending, they're just in the first year.
Okay.
But for the past, for the 15 years I've been involved, the vast majority of the people make the 5 years. There are circumstances that happen because we've always had the 5-year restricted period. Got to be over 90% the people stay for the 5. Sometimes things happen and they have to sell. And again, out of the sales proceeds, they would pay a proportionate amount of that back. So we're not hurting anybody. And if for some reason the market crashed and, they had to sell after 8 years and now the house is worth much less than it was and they're not going to realize any profit, there wouldn't be any payback.
Right. So
It's
with your properties, do you take ownership of the land, or the homeowners actually get to buy the land and the home?
So while we do develop, and we will be in the future, developing and offering houses that we've worked with a developer to construct, new construction or rehabbed, and then we'll sell it for much less than it cost us to build or rehab. That's not what this is for. This is for first-time home buyers who are currently renters and they're out and they've found a house, they've made an offer, they're under purchase and sale to buy their own house, whichever house they've chosen and fallen in love with, and then they come to us to make it a little more affordable or to help them get over the hump where they can afford that mortgage and actually close on that property. So this isn't the kind where that they're city-owned lots or city helped with the construction. These are private sales, not auction sales or anything. These are just first-time home buyers who we're trying to incentivize to buy in Springfield and look in Springfield rather than in Chicopee or Holyoke. Hey, we'll give you $10,000 towards your purchase. Buy here and stay here for 10 years. So yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Rosemary, I see your hand up. You have a question? But you're muted. You're muted, Rosemary.
Still mute.
You're still muted.
Okay, is that better?
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes, we
Okay.
can hear you. Not see you, but we can hear you.
Oh, all right. There you go. I mean, this is a program that when I was in banking, that I did for 15, 20 years, and it's extremely successful. Although back then we did 5,000 for 5 years. And I do have to say, I can't think of more than maybe one where they left the house before 5 years. So it's an excellent program that's been very successful for a very long time.
And to your point, Rosemary, you can probably attest to the fact that in today's market, 5,000
Right,
barely covers your closing costs.
right. Where
So
it made a difference back then, but it doesn't anymore.
there's definitely a need for people that need more. And there's some mortgage products out there that are helping too. Mass Housing and MHP have some great,
Right.
but I don't know how long that money's going to last. They're giving people, 25, 30,000 a pop, and we'll see. I hope it does. But it's statewide. It's not just for Springfield.
But yeah, it's a very extremely useful, successful program.
And it just makes it widens our pool.
So,
because
so
we can go
Rosemary,
80 to
is there a question in there?
No, that was just more of a comment. Sorry, Bob.
Okay, all right.
Thanks,
All right.
Rosemary.
So I would ask committee members this is question time, not endorsement time.
Okay.
All right. So moving on, and thank you, Bobby. Moving on to the next presentation, which is the Housing Trust redevelopment of vacant city-owned properties. Jerry, did you say you were presenting for that?
Margaret Boyle is here, and I think she's starting the presentation,
Okay.
and I'm here to support the presentation.
Okay.
Bob, I'm sorry, what is it? Because I don't see it on what would it be under? Project title?
Housing Trust redevelopment of vacant city-owned properties.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Margaret Boyle. I am chair of the Springfield Redevelopment Authority. And you'll see the two names on the application, the Springfield Housing Trust and the Springfield Redevelopment Authority. So I just wanted to briefly clarify how we work together. The Springfield Housing Trust focuses on funding housing initiatives, and the SRA serves as the trustee and the development arm that helps to identify projects, assemble the financing, and move the redevelopment forward. So our application seeks $300,000 in CPA funding to support the redevelopment of a long vacant city-owned property into new community housing. Our primary focus is on the building at 2612 Main Street. It dates back to 1907 and it has been vacant for many years following a fire. We do have an alternative site identified for this, if need be, which would be the former Eastern Avenue School at the corner of Eastern Ave and Alden Street. But as it relates to 2612, the goal of the project would be to restore the building and create at least 12 new housing units with affordability targeted to households earning approximately 80 to 100% of area median income. Obviously, the cost to rehab a historic building significantly exceeds what the completed apartments can generate in rent. And private development alone would not be able to make a project like this feasible. So our role through the SRA and the Housing Trust is to assemble the public resources needed to close that gap and make this redevelopment possible. The estimated project cost is approximately $9 million, and we anticipate that about $3 million of that will come from public funding that'll be needed to make this project viable. So the CPA request that we put in represents an early piece of that funding package. We're also pursuing additional resources like historic tax credits. We're working with several state housing programs to assemble the full financial needs for the redevelopment. Once that those resources are in place, the SRA and the Housing Trust will issue a competitive RFP to select an experienced developer to rehab the building, own and manage the property, and maintain the affordability requirements. So we as in Jerry and I are happy to answer any other questions. And Jerry, I don't know if you wanted to share anything more.
Well, one thing I want to share is a picture of the property we're talking about. So this is 2612 Main Street. It has been vacant for over 20 years, but is historically significant and is an important property in the North End. I want to just add on to, we are working with a consultant who's helping us create the development plan. We're in the early stages of that. So because of that, we thought it made sense to identify a second possible property that has similar characteristics in case this one really becomes, it becomes apparent that it's not feasible. So the alternative site is, I'm trying to advance this, is the Eastern Avenue School. This is at the corner of Eastern and Alden. So it's in the Old Hill neighborhood, vacant city school building, also very appropriate for housing, but a smaller project. So it's a little harder to develop with some of the big project public funding sources.
1 minute left.
So that's why we're trying to sort of put this package together that would prepare, have some sources available for a developer before they even come into it. So with that, if you have any questions, happy to take them.
All right, so any questions from committee members? Rhonda, I see your hand up.
Yes. How many units is in the one in the North End building?
That would be for 12 units.
In the North End?
Yes.
And how many apartments would you be putting on in the Eastern, the school building?
We don't know yet because it was not housing before. So the first one was apartments, so we have a sense of what it would be and what a layout would be, and we'll need to do that work for the Eastern Avenue one.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from committee
Yeah,
members? Yolanda?
So is this for you guys to just have the developer come in and this is going to stay as a housing property for the city, or is this going to be sold and be run by a private owner? What is the future of this building?
So we're looking for a private owner to develop and own and operate it as affordable housing. This has been, the city does not operate as a landlord, so we would not want to run a property. But we've tried to, I think as Margaret mentioned, we've tried to find a developer in the past. There have been a few private developers who have made efforts. We've awarded them preferred developer status, which gives them some time to put together a development plan, and they have failed. So the city's option at this point is either to demolish that building or try something else to try to find money that would make it more possible for probably a smaller developer to be able to do it.
So why wouldn't it couldn't be ran or bought by Springfield Housing Authority or anything like that? It would have to be sold to a private developer?
If there were our housing authority has not has not developed or brought new properties online in many years, and doesn't really have the focus on doing that, and probably not the capacity. Whether this becomes privately owned for, a for-profit or a nonprofit, I mean, it may well be a nonprofit entity in our community that would do this. But we don't know who's interested and has capacity until we really advance it along further.
Thank you. Oh, and Margaret, I haven't seen you in such a long time. I wanted to give my condolences to your dad.
Good to see you.
All right, and any other questions from committee members? So I guess I have one. I just want to make sure I understand this. You're looking for a CPA commitment of funds that will, in a sense, sit there until a developer is chosen, and then the developer will the developer ultimately be the receiver of the money, or will the money be funneled through the city as with the affordable project that we're working with you on Eatondale Street? You know, who's going to have a contract with CPC
Right.
to actually do the physical work?
So I would anticipate that the award would go to the Housing Trust. And so the CPC would have an agreement with the Housing Trust. The Housing Trust will take possession, the city would transfer the property to the Housing Trust so that the Housing Trust holds both the money and the property, and then would put out a request for proposal. The Housing Trust, staffed by the city, would work to make sure to work on the requirements for conveying the property and for managing the flow of money, because the flow would sit with the Housing Trust, and the city can staff that.
And if, let's say, God forbid, neither the Main Street building nor the Eastern Avenue building pan out, the 300 comes back to us?
That would be my, yes,
all right.
expectation. Yeah.
So I was, any other questions? Because I
Yeah.
have just one. All right, Yolanda?
So if you don't get this money or some of this money, is it the next step is to tear down the buildings?
There is no plan at this moment to tear down the buildings, but we have owned it for a long time without any success. And the community, actually, the neighborhood has said, this is a problem in our neighborhood and we want it dealt with, which means either it's redeveloped or it's demolished. They do not want it demolished. But they've recognized that the city's made multiple efforts without success. So this is kind of our last ditch way to try to make some progress that preserves the building.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay. And I guess one last question is, as Margaret was talking about the income level, she was 80% to 100%, which is fine for CPA. But that means you're not going after the low income housing tax credit then.
So this project is too small to support a low income housing tax credit. We do anticipate other public money will come into it, and one of the likely sources will be City of Springfield Home Funds, which is federal funds that come through the city. And where I'm going with this is, I think as we accumulate the different sources have different restrictions. So it may even be that some units are considered funded by home and have an 80% AMI restriction because that's what's required. And some units are funded by CPA and could have 100% AMI. And, you know, we would assign the units. We do that regularly in development projects we do.
Okay.
But I do see this as driven by what money we can accumulate to put into the project and what restrictions come with those dollars.
Okay. And any other questions from committee members?
Bob, may I ask a clarifying question?
Sure, Karen.
All right, Jerry, maybe I'm misunderstanding the housing trust, the structure of it, but I understood that it will become self-sustaining, that the properties are owned by the housing trust and the rents for whatever properties that you rent comes back into the trust so that it becomes self-sustaining. Is that not how the
That
trust?
is not how this is set up. The trust, so the trust is the place where money is held essentially, and there are trustees. The trustees are the SRA, the Springfield Redevelopment Authority. There are no staff for that. So we have always seen it as this, what the trust is doing is it is identifying and coming up with additional funds, with finding funds that will be dedicated to housing. The trustees with the Trust Advisory Committee said, because of the relationship that was set up by the Springfield City Council when they formed the trust, because of this connection between the SRA and the trust, that it made sense to use the trust for redevelopment of projects that turn into housing. But while trusts often become self-sustaining because money goes back into them, it more is like they lend to a project and it's repaid, or they give money that has a restriction and at the end of the restriction is repaid. But I don't think there's ever been a plan to staff the trust and to have it own property and operate as a property owner.
But you could if you wanted to.
I have not even, I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I would say in that case, it is doing the same thing as the housing authority, and I don't know that we would need another entity. The housing authority has the same kind of, well, is a quasi-governmental entity that owns affordable rental property. So I think that question earlier about whether the Springfield Housing Authority could be involved. I mean, I think if there is an entity that the city is involved with that owns affordable rental housing, they're the ones structured to do that.
Rhonda, Juanita, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm piggybacking on that. The application, because I just wrote this down, I mean, the project would be maintained using rent money. That's in the application.
Yes.
I don't have the application with me, but I wrote that down as one of my notes so that I must have taken it from the
No,
application.
that's accurate. So,
Oh.
so someone will develop it. They will have tenants in it. The tenants will pay rent, and the rents will be what is maintaining the property.
Oh, okay.
The problem
So that's
is
not what Karen was talking about. No.
Karen
that's-
was talking about the owner that would do that being the trust itself.
Oh, I
What
see.
I've been
Okay.
saying is the trust would
Right. I get it.
We would get it to the private developer, and the trust would get out of it.
Okay.
The
Okay.
trust would be the facilitator of everything, but not the ultimate property owner.
Yeah. Okay.
Really, it's like another housing department then, if the trust isn't owning the property. Right?
I do
Okay,
not
that's
want to
it.
get into a
No,
debate
that's okay.
over
But
the trust.
I have a question.
Yes.
I will say one of the different, well, actually, I'm going to stop with that. I'm not going to say that because I realize it's not quite accurate. Go ahead. There was another question.
So you said it's been empty for a long time, the building in the north end, and you haven't been successful with finding a developer. Could you tell me a reason? What's the pushback on such seems like a very lucrative area, very big building, very nice. What do you feel like is the pushback that you're not getting and you need the CPA money to try to eye candy for this building?
So we've put out requests for proposals 4 times. We only got proposals for 2 of those, and both times we selected someone to do the development, and they went. So I think the thing to know is lucrative would mean that the development is done and the rents are going to pay off the cost of that redevelopment and pay the maintenance and produce some income. That is not the case because the expense of redeveloping the property is more than rents would ever get to. So the issue became for both of the developers that had it was they had plans to get various public money and they couldn't get enough. So they eventually said, you know what? I can't make this project work. I'm never going to get, there is not enough money for this project to make financial sense for me. So what we've seen is, right, the gap is that there's not enough, the project itself does not support redevelopment. So that's why it sits vacant and why it would go to demolition unless we got the point to the actual cost to redevelopment, to redevelop, till we get it into a range that the project works for somebody to own and operate.
And do you think that the 300,000 would give that?
Oh, no.
No.
300,000 is sort of a down payment on what that would
Okay.
be. It is a much bigger gap than that. So we are
Okay.
asking for this as a starting point. And I think the other thing Margaret mentioned, but I'll say more, we are working with a developer, with a consultant who does a lot of work, including on buildings like this, who is going to be giving us sort of much more detailed analysis of the cost and the gap. And so that is moving forward simultaneously. But because it takes a long time to accumulate resources, we're starting here. But this is nowhere near what the gap will be.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? If not, we will move on. Thank you very much, Jerry, and Margaret. And so the next presentation is the Rainville and Newcourt Terrace.
Hello, good evening, everybody. This is Vandana Sareen. I'm with Wayfinders, Senior Project Manager, and thanks for giving us this opportunity to kind of present this development project in Springfield, next to the historic armory. So as you may have reviewed, this is redevelopment and rehab of multifamily affordable housing units on Byers Street. But it's a redevelopment of 4 historic buildings, which were developed in late 1900 and early 20th century. So the site is, of course, located in this. I do have a presentation. I don't know if it's there, but I can definitely go with that. There we are. So if you want to just follow along, you know, it's consists of 2 properties, Rainville, which was an old hotel and is currently providing affordable housing under a HUD mod rehab development program, which was developed in 1998 by the residents themselves. And so it's a really unique site. And we are currently have an option on it and are managing that property. And the other property that we are combining with it's called Newcourt Terrace, which was also redeveloped in 2005, but has been more than 25 years and needs some update and recapitalization, and also some energy efficient upgrades, like the windows need to be historic, but also energy efficient, so that the tenants don't have to pay too many utilities on those units. So that is really the focus of the development, some exterior redevelopment and interior. We've put together a development team. If you could go one slide up. Development team, of course, Wayfinders is the sponsor, and the current owner, 32 Buyers Inc., which is also a nonprofit entity, is also a partner with us. And then we have Schatz, Schwartz, and Fenton with Ellen as our counsel. We have a developer consultant, Jerry Joseph, Joseph Development. We have Trish Smith, who is our relocation consultant. I think she also has a project at the CPA. And then we have our architect, Davis Square, Airtight, as our energy developer, but also we have PAL, Public Accounting Archaeology Firm, which is our historic consultant. And of course, we have Western Builders as our GC and OTO as our environmental consultant, because these have to also have hazmat and things like that addressed, even though they're historic. You probably know the site is located right at the bottom of the hill from the Armory on Byers Street. This is an aerial view because Rainville is a few blocks away from Newcourt Terrace. So Rainville is actually closer to State Street, which is not next to the Walt, which is a new affordable housing development coming online later this year. And Newcourt is on the other side. The sites have closely located to public transit, and that's very helpful because they're all affordable units, 60% area median income and below. And actually, Rainville is currently a HUD mod rehab development, as I mentioned, and will become one of a RAD conversion development under the HUD program. So it needs a lot of redevelopment.
1 minute is
rehab.
1
Okay,
minute
thank
left.
you. We are going to put an elevator in that. It's all efficiency units. It's an L kind of building. Here you can see the kind of work we're going to do and how the funding will be utilized to help with the roof and the masonry and the pointing. And then, of course, we have the other 3 buildings, which are family buildings. The 2 smaller buildings have mostly 2 and 3 bedroom units, also very historic, similar rehab, exterior and interior. And this development will also be requesting funding from the state LIHTC source of NOFA, which is currently being applied on March 19th. And we are competing for that funding also as we speak. And this money is actually the seed money because it will help leverage the $30 million development. So even though 300,000 is small, but it's a very substantial amount. And the CPA had provided us a small funding previously, and this would be a critical leverage in order for us to get the state funding. The project timeline, if we are successful in getting the funding from the state, which we believe is because of HUD and all that, the things are pretty lined up because of the need for Rainville. We will start construction next summer, and it will be a 2-year development phase, 24 months, because the properties are occupied. So it will be acquisition
Time
and
is
rehab
up.
of an occupied building. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, well, thank you. So questions from committee members? I see Steve Bosworth's hand up.
Hi, yes, thank you. Vanetta, so our $300,000 would be, in a sense, you're saying it's kind of like seed money to generate, I don't know what, good show of good faith on the part of the applicant here in order to help secure the rest of the significant or $32 million of funding?
Yes, absolutely. Because, this is a competitive round in the state, and the state is looking for local support, community, funding support for these developments, and they give a lot of weight to that funding source. And we were actually hoping we could get some home money for this, but because we already have home money in these deals from the city, that is not applicable. And so because they're historic and the CPA really supports historic, and these are very historic buildings and needing a lot of work. We just thought this is going to be a really critical piece in order for us to leverage the 30 million. So yes, the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities is very keenly looking at what is the city, city or the local support that is coming from the community in order for us to redevelop these 4 buildings.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from committee members? Yolanda? Yolanda, you're
Sorry,
muted.
couldn't find my mute button. Bob, what was the Fire Street from last year? What was that address?
Was it last?
The one that came in front of us last year for Bio Street? What address was that?
Was that 60 Buyer Street? Was that the modernist house that's up? That's been empty for years. It's from the 1950s. It looks like a Frank Lloyd Wright type house. That was last year.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so this is not the same. This is not the same numbers as last year's Bio Street.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We have the address is 32 Buyers, which is Rainville, and then 68 Buyers and 76 and 84, which are all together. And in between these two are 2 or 3 buildings, and one of those buildings is the 60 Buyers. And we are very glad that that is being addressed because, vacant sites tend to be open for vandalism and things like that. So it just makes the street safer.
Okay, and so the 40, So the 47 units are going to be studio apartments, and the 40, it says 45 units after that, like tax credit program compromising a
Yeah.
total of 45 units. What is going
The
to be the,
total development of this 88 units altogether, 43 will be in Rainville, and they will have an elevator. So there are 43 units in the Rainville building, which will be efficiency, and then there will be 45 in Newcourt Terrace.
so be
Of the
handicap
45,
accessible?
there will be some which will be handicap. At least 5% of the units will be mobility accessible, and 2% of the units will have additionally visual and hearing aid sensory accessible.
I see that your contract says that you guys are not looking for us to come to us annually. So do you feel that if you were awarded this money, guys would have the full amount of money to start the project?
Yes, with this funding would be a critical piece for us to get the state to give us a nod to kind of have that local leverage to move forward. We've already assembled a lot of our historic tax credits. And so I think between the CPA funding and the historic tax credits, we are basically going to the state for about 4 million in soft funding. So this 300,000 is leveraging that 4 million from the state.
So if
in
we
essence.
couldn't give the whole 300,000, this is going to put a halt on your construction, or you still have some sort of seed money that would cover whatever it
No,
is that
there will be a
CPA would
little
agree
gap.
to?
There will be a little gap. And so that's the state is looking for some commitment from the local community to kind of give their $4 million.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from committee members?
I just
Not-
want to say they tend to score different projects which are from all over the state. And so this is their way of saying, is the community really interested in this project? And they want to, support that.
Okay, thank you. All right, so not seeing any hands up from committee members. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, Bob.
So the next one is the Bella Apartments redevelopment of the Brightwood School.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Zoller. I'm representing my firm MPZ Development, and Bella Apartments is a partnership with New North Citizens Council and myself, and we're proposing 55 senior units at 471 Plainfield Street on the north side. It's almost a 2-acre site. It's bordered by Plainfield, Abbey, Fisk, and Roland Street. I do have a presentation I could share, or Karen, if you have it. Can I share myself? That would be great.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Great. Thank you. Bear with me. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So you know where the city is, and here's the north side highlighted on the left of the plan. I'll go quickly through this so we can get to your questions. Here's kind of a walking path to amenities proximate to the site. It's also served by transit, bus transit, and very close to downtown. This is the aerial of the site. The Brightwood School is here. It's a large school that was closed a few years ago because there was a new school built not far from the site. It was a 30B RFP process through the city, and New North and I were the proposers, and we won the bid for the school building. The planned redevelopment, here's some historic photos. We do have part 1 and 2 approval from National Park Service, as well as several allocations of state historic tax credits already, and we're continuing to apply for those. Here's some actual photos of the site you can see. The school is deteriorating quickly. It's actually been broken into a number of times, and a lot of the glass on the first floor has been, and throughout the building has been destroyed. So it's been boarded at the first and second floor now. So it's important that we get this project moving quickly. The redevelopment plan is for 55 units of senior housing, predominantly one bedrooms with a couple of twos. That's what the senior guidelines from EOHLC require. It's going to have a whole host of amenities for the residents and the community, fitness, various community rooms, outdoor amenities, laundry for residents, exercise equipment. It's up to 60% of AMI, so all of the units will be affordable. And here are some ranges for you to see the folks that'll be able to live here. There'll also be Section 8 vouchers available to some of the residents vis-a-vis the state and funds that we're applying for through EOHLC. Similar to the last project you heard, this will go into a tax credit round. Here you see the existing building and then the proposed addition. So the addition will have 23 additional units. So that will get us to the total of 55 units here at 471 Plainfield. Here's just a plan showing the ground floor spaces. This is the knuckle of the building, which contains most of the amenities for the project. And then the exterior courtyard here with additional amenity. And then a bit of a blow up for you here. And then it stacks up through the buildings. I'm going to skip the elevations and then just show you some renderings. So here's a view from Rowland and Fisk, looking at that outdoor courtyard, which will have
1 minute left.
Yep, Domino's table and grills and other raised planting beds you can see over here. Here's the view from Abbey and Fisk, showing the new building and the historic building in the background. And then the portico entry off of Abbey for accessibility. It'll also have 37 parking spaces for the development. So I will stop there. There's a few interior photos here. You have this in your package, so if you want to spend some extra time with it. So that's what I've got.
Okay, thank you. So, any questions from committee members?
Yeah, I have a question.
Well, I saw Steve's hand up
Oh,
first.
okay, sure.
Watch it. Matthew, now who will be owning and managing this project once it's completed?
Great question. So I am a private developer. So I own and operate these properties. They're affordable in perpetuity. I will own it for the foreseeable future. The minimum tax credit period is 15 years. So that's typically the minimum ownership, but I'll be involved throughout. It's a partnership with New North. So I just want to be clear, they're actually an equity partner in the transaction. So they will have ownership as well. And it'll be managed by Peabody Properties, who manages all of my other affordable developments. I have a lot of expertise in redeveloping old schools. So I've done this in Bridgewater, where I own 57 units. I'm currently building in Templeton, where I own 54 units, another school building. And I've rehabbed in Boston and across the state. So I have a lot of experience owning and operating these properties.
Oh, thank you.
Juanita?
Yeah, so I'm just looking at my notes here, and I must have made a mistake, but what's the total project?
Total project cost?
The amount, I'm sorry, the amount of money for the total project.
Yeah, this will be approximately $40 million for the full redevelopment.
Okay, I left out a zero. That's why I was wondering why it was so cheap.
Yeah, so your resources are integral to this project for similar reasons that the folks from Wayfinders described. It leverages other public resources into the project. In other communities, I've been successful in raising CPA dollars to support these projects. In Bridgewater, there was a $1.3 million CPA contribution. In Templeton, there was a $2 million CPA contribution. Here, the city is also helping us. So it's a collaboration between the city, New North, hopefully the CPA, and anybody else that wants to get on board so we can get to the funding needed to support this project. And I did outline the sources and uses in my application. So if you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer those as well.
Matthew, I have two technical questions. In your presentation, you said that you had been selected by the city along with New North to be the developer. I did not see a letter to that effect in your application. If it's something I just missed, let me know what page it's on. If it's not there, please send us something for our record so we know that you're authorized to speak on behalf.
Of course. Yeah, I apologize. That was omitted from the application, but I do have a designation letter from the city.
Yeah, if you could send that to Karen and just so we have it. And
would you like all of them? Because it's been extended for several times, so it's up to you.
Yeah, I think the most recent one is good enough.
No problem.
And the other one is in the application, we ask a question of will the owner agree to a preservation or local historic district designation? And the response was will be on the National Register once the project is completed. The National Register is what gives you access to the historic tax credits. It does not protect the building going forward except from federal or state funding. What we, the committee, have determined is if we put money into a historic resource, we either want it to be a designated local historic district or to have an exterior preservation restriction on it. So 20 years down the line, a subsequent owner can't decide they want to do bad things to the building. So I assume is that acceptable?
Well, I mean, we would have to discuss what that entails, but I will tell you that, because this will receive the historic tax credit, the federal credit, as well as state credits, it'll be to the Secretary of the Interior standard. So we are working with Epsilon Associates, to make sure that we restore and preserve the exterior of the building as well as the interior. I don't know if you have all been inside the building. I'm happy to give you a tour, but this is probably one of the most ornate historic buildings that I've ever done in my career. I've done a lot of historic preservation, and we're going to be keeping that fabric so we can get the credit. In all of our applications, which I believe I included as part of the application.
Yeah, we certainly understand that for developers going after either the state or the federal historic tax credits, they need to adhere to the Secretary's standards, which are the gold standards for historic preservation. Our concern is what happens to these historic resources 20 years down the line and 30 years down the line, and therefore a preservation restriction on the exterior or a local historic district designation, which helps to control what can be done to the outside, is what we need.
So I would have to review the language and the documentation that you'd like to propose. I'm sorry, I don't mean to push back like this, but I'm trying to understand the purpose, because this will not be changed once it's renovated. So I'm not selling the building, nor is New North removing themselves from the building as an owner. So I'm just trying to understand how that preservation restriction would work, given that we are keeping the building as it currently looks to the greatest degree possible.
It's a perpetuity exterior restriction, which means that after maybe in 20 years, you end up selling it to a different company that may not be as sensitive. And when they now have to do repairs, because it's been 20 years since the building was renovated, they may decide they want white vinyl historic windows that don't meet the Secretary standards. So the bottom line is it's something that it is a condition, and we're happy to talk offline. I don't want to take anyone's time now, but you just need to realize that the condition of CPA funding is either local historic district or preservation restriction.
Sure. I'm happy to
Okay.
have further discussion about it.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yolanda?
So how much, because I could see from the Bella budget, is most of all this you already have, like the housing choice, the FHTC equity, or is this all in condition of waiting for the CPA funds?
So the funds that have been committed to the project and are some that are already being used include the UPP funds, underutilized property program, which is a program Mass Development runs. The Housing Choice, which is a city program vis-a-vis the state for pre-development funding. The historic tax credits have been secured, but they have not yet been syndicated. And so when they are syndicated, you'll have the equity as part of the project. So that also includes the LIHTC equity, the state equity, the state historic loan. The home funds have been committed and applied for, both local home and home ARP. Those are committed. You see the CPA, which has not yet been committed.
Right.
The housing bond bill funds are in the housing bond bill. They need to be extracted from the state, but that is a commitment. And then the soft debt. So I'm competing for a lot of these resources. And the CPA funds would go a long way in making the case for the additional sources that have not yet been committed. So to be clear, the committed sources are Housing Choice, UPP, Springfield Home, and Springfield Home ARP, and then the housing bond bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one more question. The management company that you're utilizing, are they local management company?
They manage a number of properties locally, and they do some work with New North already. They're proficient in managing the low-income housing tax credit process, so that's why they're a great manager from that standpoint. But they also have a great social services program. They're going to help us kind of manage and offer the community here what they need, and so that's a big part of why they were chosen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from committee members? So I guess I have a question in terms of in the sources. I don't see anything in here that says owner equity. Is there no money being put up by you or New North?
So we put up significant guarantees to make sure that this project can happen. So I would put that in the category of equity. We have actually restructured this budget a little bit to put in what's called a deferred developer fee. So taking a portion of the developer fee and putting it back into the project. And so this budget has been revised since this submission and to include $300,000 of owner deferred fee.
Can you get us in a revised copy?
Sure.
All right. Thank you. So, any other questions from committee members? Not seeing any hands up. Thank you very much. And we will move on to the next presentation, which is the gun block.
Is that my signal?
It's you, Janae. See if you're
Okay,
coming.
thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Janae McDonald. I am the founding CEO of Urban Impact Initiative Massachusetts, affectionately referred to as Urban Impact. We are the new and most recent owners of the historic gun block located at 477 State Street here in Springfield, Massachusetts. We are here for an additional $300,000 for this new funding cycle from the CPA. Just want to give
Janae, can I stop you for a second?
Okay.
There's a deal of static coming in your conversation that I haven't heard from anyone else. Are other committee members having the same issue, or is it just me? No,
Just
everyone.
you, Bob, from my standpoint.
Oh, okay. Maybe it must be my computer. Sorry. Go on, Janae.
Okay. So we were fortunate enough to have some other funds from CPA, 250,000, that were originally designated for the building under a different owner and developer transferred over. That prior owner's development consisted of using the funds to do the roof, install windows, doors, and masonry work, so exterior work. I'm also aware that prior to that, Developed Springfield was awarded funds for the stabilization of the building. So we were able to have that $250,000 transferred over or awarded to us as the new owners and developers to start the exterior work. However, that original award was back in about, I think, 2022 or 2023. And we learned that the prior owner's budget or plan was not quite realistic numbers wise. And so with us needing to start with the roof and the masonry work, it was very quickly going to bring us to the 250,000. I've already submitted a quote for the masonry work to Karen as we're trying to get the ball rolling on contracting and things like that so we can start the work and work on the reimbursement. And so the masonry work alone is $167 or $162,000 for the building. So between that and the roof, it will not leave us much funds to start on the windows, the doors, and to continue the exterior work. So this portion of the application is for the installation of windows, for doors, and for an outer staircase in the back of the building. We're looking to have that be like a powder coated grid iron staircase so that it can be consistent with the historic visual effect of the building, in addition to stabilization for the building, because the current stabilization that is in there is stabilization literally for the impact of making sure the building doesn't fall, but not necessarily for the functionality of the building. And so that functionality includes the second and third levels being apartment units. We're going to have 5 to 6 apartment units there. Those will be affordable rate units. And then the first level, which has enough space for 2 commercial spaces. One side will be our community cafe and artist bar, where it will be a part of our social enterprise program, where our program participants who participate in our programming will have the ability to work at the community cafe and participate in the program at the artist bar. And the other side, we're looking to have be our digital literacy and learning hub for the organization. This project is very special, and it's a
1 minute.
Thank you. For 4 main reasons. Number one, it's going to be a part of the home and history of urban impact. And it's about, providing community housing and community programming and locally owned, right? We're not some like big time out of town developer. The other 3 pieces is that one, it's the oldest commercial building in the city, one of the oldest, buildings in the city. It's very special in the fact that it's actually its own historic district as the building itself. And the last piece is that it's one of the 15 endangered buildings that has been identified by the Springfield Preservation Trust. And so this will put us in a significant position to, one, leverage what would be a total of $600,000 to leverage other funds with a total budget of 1.6 million between the 50,000 we were awarded from mass development, the 250 we previously awarded. If we get this, that brings us to 600,000. We have about 750 pending from, or hopefully that we will get. We applied for mass housing, the underutilized properties grant program. That application process is open. So this will almost bring us to somewhat of a halfway mark, and it's a very realistic timeline and budget. And I'll stop.
Perfect timing.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Well, thank you. So, questions from committee members? Any questions?
Are there already stairwells in the back, or this is gonna be a whole new kind of is it being added to
There
the
are
building?
no there are no stairs in the back of the building.
Okay.
Nope. So this would be new.
So I guess I have a question. So Janae, your application doesn't really have a breakdown of the items that you mentioned in your presentation, or at least my paper copy doesn't. Can you get us that? In other words, if you're asking for windows, you're saying windows and X amount of money, back stairs, X amount of money, so we can actually see what you're proposing to use it for?
Yes, I can. Is that something that you would like me to talk about now, or is it a document that you would like to see?
No, I simply want to have a one-page document that just lists the items that make up the $300,000 for which you are requesting.
Okay.
All right, and any other questions by committee members? And I guess then I have one other question, Janae. The current application says that you're going to be putting in 3 affordable apartments. Is that correct?
Yes. In order for us to have access to the mass housing dollars, if we get awarded that, at least 50% of the units in the apartment complex have to be affordable housing.
Oh, so how many apartments will the building have once it's done, all together?
Anywhere from 5 to 6. We're working that out now with the structural engineer. The original developer, I think, had 7, but after walking through the building, clearing it out, we're realizing 7 may not be feasible. So this will be a smaller scale
Yeah,
apartments.
I see. Okay, good. And any other questions from committee members? Not seeing any. Thank you very much, and we'll move on to the next presentation, which is the Alden Street Housing Project.
Hello, Mr. Carroll and committee members. Thanks for allowing me to share regarding our proposal to request funds from the CPA committee. We are real estate brokers. We have been in business for over 30 years. We're now a third generation real estate company, meaning my son is a realtor, not only in Western Mass, but in Eastern Massachusetts. And I also have brought in a teenager that's working to get her real estate license. We're a smaller company, but we have a lot of heavyweights that we're affiliated with. We would consider as part of our team Givens Development Company, which has developed over 12 multi and single family homes. We also consult with the Dietz Architect Group to make sure our properties are in line with historic guidelines. We have worked with on bigger developments with commercial development projects. One of them that we successfully completed was the Family Dollar building. We were involved in that project over near the RMV in Springfield. So we're looking for, we initially said $265,000, but after tweaking our budget, we see, and in order to add the amenities and the enhance the exterior in that neighborhood, so it is historic, we're looking for the maximum of 300K. We understand the neighborhood. We lived in the neighborhood. We've done business in the neighborhood. We're totally invested. We go to church there. This property is in a very unique location because you have Springfield College students looking for affordable, housing there, but of course, we're going to be accommodating low to moderate income individuals, families, seniors, veterans. We are in the process of purchasing the property. So we are, part of our request for funds is to purchase that particular lot. It's actually a couple blocks from Six Corners. It's less than a couple minutes from downtown Springfield. There's a lot of services in that neighborhood that the families that occupy the units could access. And at the same time, we'll be enhancing that particular property because there was a 2-family house there that was demolished. So as brokers, of course, we always focus on highest and best use. So we could leave it vacant, but we're asking of the committee to help support us so we can develop a property that will bring it back to its highest and best use. I provided the facade. We plan that it's going to be a triplex. As you can see, the photo of the triplex there. And meaning, of course, it's going to be a 3-family with 3 separate entrances and exits. All 3-bedroom units.
1 minute.
Okay. We are also local landlords, so we are highly experienced in working with low to moderate income families that have 60% of AMI, but we've done it for over 20 years. So we would be able to also handle that aspect of it. And we plan to keep the property and manage the property. And I think that's it. That's what we've got for now. Feel free to ask any questions.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Thank you. I see Steve's hand up, but before we do that, I have a technical issue. We require that developers or proposers at least notify the neighborhood in which they're located. So have you contacted the Old Hill Neighborhood Council to let them know that you're applying for CPA funds for this project?
Yes, I have. And they are drafting a letter. They didn't have it for me today, but I can certainly expedite and get that letter. They're totally in support of this project, in agreement of the project. And I do participate. I'm a part of Upper Hill. Like I go to their events and everything. So they're familiar with the company and what we've done in the past. Yes.
Well, that's fine. I mean, we don't necessarily need a letter of support. That's always a good thing. But we do need to know that the neighborhood has learned of the project. All right. So,
Bob, I had a question.
well, Steve, I told Steve he would be the
Okay,
next.
sure.
Thanks, Bob. Cynthia, your submission said that there's going to be a duplex with a garage that might have a unit over it. So what you showed us there on the rendering was a single building with 3 units stacked, right? That's what you've come down to. So you've changed a little bit from how you described in the application, or will there still be a garage on the site with a possible ADU or in the top of it?
Yes, after submitting the application and after discussing it with the team, we felt that we could perhaps build the triplex, the last proposed structure, that would be the highest and best for that particular lot.
Okay, and another question. The third unit, does that utilize the basement or the attic? I mean, where's the layout of the third unit? I'm just curious. I mean, looks like you got 2 main floors, an attic, and a lower level on that rendering.
Yeah, it's an attic apartment, but it's a spacious attic. apartment.
There we are. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I saw something. Looks like there's a little door down there in the basement level too, or underneath. I don't know if there's a. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's an actual apartment, it conforms with a lot of those properties over there. A high percentage of them have a third floor, and I've owned property over there with an actual legal third floor apartment, similar in square footage, not as big as the first and second, but adequate for another family.
Mm-hmm. And I just want, I think, just a sort of a technical point, we'd probably want to see, you have here total project budget 400,000. I didn't see any detail on that. I assume now that you've focused on this particular plan, you'll come up with a more detailed budget.
Yes, we will definitely provide that now that we pretty much agreed on what the structure is going to be. So we can, yeah, we're happy to provide you with all the information, specific information on each line item in the budget.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Rhonda? And
Yes,
then
my
we'll-
question is, you said Upper Hill, but this is on Alden, so I'm not clear because I'm on the board of Old Hill. So are you talking about you went to Upper Hill and not Old Hill?
That's what, yeah, I talked to Old Hill and they said it was in Upper Hill. I've talked to
Okay.
both. Yeah, I've
But
talked
I'm on
to,
Old Hill, and I'm wanting to be clear, just what part of Alden the lot is on, because
it's
Upper
on
Hill
the
is kind of
end.
close.
Yeah, it's like on the border, but it's on that end towards the Rotary, the Six Corners, the Family Dollar, and
And it's on Alden Street?
it's on Alden Street. Yes.
Okay, so what's the address? I want to be clear where it's at. Also, I have a question. Are you saying you have an attic apartment, or is that, I thought when I looked at the drawing too, it looked like it was a basement apartment. Which is it?
The attic apartment.
It's an attic apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so being that it's an attic apartment, there's an egress on the back of it or on the side?
On the back.
On the back?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because I believe there was some zoning about building those. So I'm just curious. That's why I'm asking.
Well, I've talked to Mr. Jacob about it and I showed him the plan. So I can go back to him and make sure. I mean, we have flexibility with that plan, but we want to make sure it's a 3-family property. That's our goal there. But certainly, again, we'll discuss it with Mr. Jacob to make sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But is there a garage? One more question. Is there going to be a garage there or no?
That's optional. We're still discussing that.
Okay.
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 Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Juanita?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. First of all, I'm a little confused. The attic apartment will make it three units, but that you mentioned the door, that there was another apartment down there? The little door on the bottom that looks like it's going into something.
The basement apartment.
So that makes 4.
No, it goes into a basement.
Oh, it just goes into a basement, but that's not an apartment.
Right. It just goes into a basement.
Okay, because you were calling, I thought I heard you call it a basement
Oh,
apartment.
that's what I
Okay.
thought so too when Steve had asked.
Right, so it's the attic apartment and the first floor and second floor.
Correct.
And you said you don't own the property yet?
We've got the PNS, we've got the it's pending. It's like it's under agreement.
Okay.
And just to follow up on that, what is attached to the application is the purchase and sale, but it's only a draft. There's no signature. So can you get us a signed purchase and sale so that we know that you have some degree of control over the property?
Sure.
Okay. You can send that to Karen.
Okay.
If you can also send to Karen this new design plan that we've just seen, that would be helpful.
Well, it's like a whole new application, from what I'm seeing, Bob. I mean, she would have to just send, I mean, the neighborhood councils from Old Hill and Upper Hill, and the new way it's going to look. It just seems like the application's just,
Yeah, Yolanda, you have just the paper copy there. I
yeah.
did receive the digital, and it's in the Google folder now.
Okay,
Digitally.
please. Yes.
Okay, any other questions from committee members?
Yeah. Looking for this paper now. I've just seen it in here. Hold on one second, Bob. There was something that said mortgage, and then it said intentionally delete it. Is there a reason for that? Mortgage contingency, intentionally delete it, and 12. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Is that in reference to the lot? Perhaps I thought maybe it's going to be a cash buy of the lot, so perhaps we deleted it, but that's in reference to the land that's going to be purchased.
Right.
Okay.
So there will not be a mortgage on the land. Is that what you're referencing, Veronica?
Well,
Rhonda?
I just didn't understand what it meant in number 12 as mortgage contingency, and then it says intentionally deleted. I just wanted to know a little bit more why that was written in there like that.
Mr. Carroll, can you kind of elaborate on that field? Because I interpreted it to mean that we might be seeking, if we're seeking a mortgage on the land, and we're not. So could you clarify what that field means?
Which field? Which field are we talking about?
In the application, you mean?
Yes, the mortgage contingency.
In the deed. I mean,
Is it-
that's not unusual when you have when the parties agree there's going to be no mortgage, that you wouldn't have a mortgage contingency provision.
Okay.
So I don't think that it didn't generally jump out at me. I was just assuming that there'd be it was a cash deal, and therefore no mortgage, and therefore no need to put that paragraph in there because it would be
Okay.
superfluous.
And so you guys are going to buy this property outright. Is that the
Yes.
plan?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be our investment in the project.
So explain to me the amount of 245. What is, 265,000. What is your plan for that CPA money? You haven't bought the building as of yet. So 265 is going to be going to what?
Towards the acquisition of the land, like to reimburse us for that, if that's what you do. But also we're going to have costs for excavation, building the property and developing the property, foundation work, framing work, everything that includes developing that property.
It needs to be itemized, all of
It
it.
does. Yeah. Can we get an itemized report of everything that is going to add up $265,000 of CPA money?
Yes, I actually did, Rhonda, provide a spreadsheet, what some preliminary costs. I don't know if Karen has it, but I can certainly provide that. That's not a problem. We can give you a more detailed budget with all the costs that will be involved.
Right. This is what we have. Are these just these 4 areas of what the budget is? And
Mhm.
That's
We've been
really-
pricing materials and we've been adding to the budget, so that's not, we have more information now than we had when we submitted the application.
Yeah. Yeah, because the attic apartment, it does have stairs outside of there if it's going to be a legal attic apartment, right?
It has to, yes.
So there's no stairs there.
It has to have a separate entrance and exit to be a legal 3rd floor apartment.
Right.
Yes. So
Okay.
it will, it has to
Okay.
be even classified as that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. If you, when you can get all that stuff to us, that would be amazing for us to look it over. Because right now, I feel like the application's incomplete. That's my personal. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, well, thank you. So you're going to be getting us a revised budget. You're going to be getting us the letter from the Old Hill Council. You're going to be getting us the rendering, or at least if Karen doesn't already have it.
Well, she has to figure out it's Old Hill or Upper Hill.
Well, as someone who worked in the Springfield Planning Department for 30 years, I can tell you that a lot that is within throwing distance of the roundabout at Six Corners is in the Old Hill neighborhood, not the Upper Hill neighborhood. So we need to know that you've reached out to the Old Hill Council. Better you get a letter of support, but that's not required. What is required is we have proof that you've reached out to the appropriate neighborhood council, which in this case is the Old Hill Council.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. All righty, moving on then, Mulberry House roof restoration.
Good evening, Chair McCarroll and CP Committee. My name is Kimothy Jones, and I'm the treasurer of the Mulberry House Board of Trustees. I am joined here this evening by our Director of Maintenance, Paul Lissat from Premier Property Management, and also Tom Barrett from Premier Builders. Karen, can you pull up the PowerPoint, please?
Yeah.
So we're here this evening to discuss the Mulberry House roof restoration project. Next slide. So when we went before the Historic Commission and then followed up with our application, we've identified the Mulberry House as a cultural and historic resource within the Ridgewood Local Historic District. Dr. Seuss's first published book was inspired by this unique enclave neighborhood where his grandmother lived. The Mulberry House itself is a 120-unit residence.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Resident that was erected in 1955. And as you'll see in the next slide, it's a turquoise and beige building, which is an Art Deco style reflected in many of Dr. Seuss's children's books. I have here the aerial view and also the GIS map, which indicates the Ridgewood local historic area. Next slide. So, oh despair, our roof's in need of repair. We came before this committee last year needing money to repair our roof. Since last year, it's only gotten worse. And unfortunately, we did not have sufficient funds to even begin the project. We're in a slightly better financial situation this year, but we are seeking support once again from this committee, the Community Preservation Committee. So the exterior roof is 21,544 square feet, and it is in very poor condition and in dire need of repair. It's proposed to cut out and dispose of the top layer of the roof membrane to expose insulation, remove and dispose all penetration and perimeter flashings, take cores throughout the roof, furnish and install a layer of 50 mil white membrane over the entire roof, mechanically fasten all seams, laps, and transitions, furnish and install new PVC membrane, flashing, sealants, and clamping rings on 9 roof drains, and install 1,100 snap fascia. Some of the technical terms can be addressed by Tom Barrett and also by Paul Lazat. And this new roof, will be maintained through regular inspection at least twice a year. Next slide. These are current photos of the Mulberry House roof, view 1, view 2. Next slide. And more, view 3 and view 4. So the CPA request and budget estimate, in order to preserve the integrity of the building, it's imperative to start with the roof. The budget projection from Premier Building Associates is $141,176 and includes all labor, equipment, materials, and supervision. The caveat to that is that if there's any additional work beyond the scope described in slide 4, we will be charged on a time and material basis at standard rates of $85 per man hour plus materials. Therefore, the Mulberry Thank you. Therefore, the Mulberry House of Trustees humbly requests $275,000 for the repair and restoration of this cultural and historic resource in the Ridgewood Local Historic District. Next slide. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. So, Karen, once you take down now I can see people. All right. So questions from committee members. So I just want to make sure I understand it. You've, in a sense, doubled the estimate of the roofing cost in case there are surprises?
Yes, exactly.
And I guess the question I would have for the contractor who's here, is it typical that the surprises in a roof of this size and this age is twice, is the equal amount of what the roof costs itself?
No, it's not. You guys have my number. I think that number is correct. I'm pretty sure it's correct. 90% sure it's correct. But yeah, we could run into some trouble. Wet insulation has to be removed and taken out. And we do it on a square foot basis. So the roof's been leaking for quite some time, so a good chunk of it's going to have to go. But we're not going to be getting into the $275,000 range, I don't think.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from committee members? Rosemary, I see your hand up.
Yes. When you were talking, you mentioned something about applying for money last year.
Yes.
And I wasn't on the board last year, so they probably know the answer to this. Was that money already used on the roof, or has that just been put aside and you didn't do the work, or there's more work that needs to be done?
We were not funded last year.
You were not, okay. That was what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
It was highly competitive, just as it is this year.
Okay, thank you.
We would come back anyway and try to get some assistance.
Okay, Steve, you have a question?
Yeah, this may be a little bit on point, but Timothy, are all of the units in the Mulberry House, they're all private and market rate, whether they're condos or re-rentals?
Yes.
Okay.
They're
All right. I'm just checking to see if
120,
there's any.
and they're all occupied.
Okay. So there's no affordable housing angle here at all. It's really the historic context in which you're arguing this is an important piece of the district.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And any other questions from committee members? Not seeing any hands up. Thank you very much for your presentation. Moving on to the next one, which is the Kimball Towers Condo Association restoration of 140 Chestnut Street. So I saw Robert Lauder here. I would assume
Oh,
he's or is
here.
someone else making it?
He was just
seems
here a
to have
second ago.
disappeared. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he was
Well,
just here a second ago.
Yeah. Well, rather than when he logs, oh, there he is. Robert, are you making the presentation?
Oh, you're muted, Robert.
You're muted.
Yeah, he's talking. I don't think he knows. Robert, you're muted.
Robert, you're muted. And you're still muted.
Yeah, I can't unmute him.
You hear that?
Okay. Oh.
Oh, now you're unmuted. At least. All right.
All right, so he can't make the.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay. It's kind of amazing that we're having this meeting today for a simple reason. It's our 115th birthday for this building. This building originally was opened as a hotel. It was converted into a condo in 1983, and since then it has been operating as a condo development. We have 132 units. Basically what we are asking money for is restoration of the window sills. This picture here is a finished work for phase 1, which was done from on Chestnut Street. The next phase will be on Bridge Street, and this is like, you can see the lines that are in the facade, which have to be redone and also have to be cleaned, and also there has to be a protection put over it to prevent water from going in, because what happened is when they built the building, they used iron rods to stabilize the window sills. Well, with time, what has happened is you've had leaks in the concrete, and what's happened is the water has gone in and dissolved the iron in the building. So what you're seeing basically is a deterioration of the building. The Kimball Condo Association is an historic district, and it has been it has been one of the prime hotels in Springfield. And as a matter of fact, the first radio station in the country was on top of our roof. The building was also at one time one of the early Sheraton's hotels. And we're asking for money, not for a project that's going to be 2.7 million when it's completed, because we also have to do reappointing and everything, and cleaning of the brickwork and everything else, so that we can repair the work of the sills so that they don't fall down on people. We've had a couple incidents where pieces have fallen. And when this has happened, what's happened, we had to pay an insurance claim because it hit somebody's car. And basically what we're doing is we're using this money for restoration. We're not using this to develop anything new. We're using it for restoration. The company that we have been using is one of the few companies in the area that does do this work. And from the looks of the front of the building, you can see that it's very reliable. You can see the difference between the first section and the second section if you go, as you go down the street. Now, anything else?
Okay, we'll see if there are any questions from committee members.
Yeah, I in the application, I didn't really see a budget breakdown. Did
Okay.
I miss it, or did anybody else see it?
Well, okay, because we decided to it was broken down into the windows sills because the old project is way over budget. That project for that side of the building is over $600,000 to do that restoration. And there's no way that the CPA funds would ever meet that. That's already what we have in reserve for that budget. But we have to do the rest of the building too. So we would
I think,
be using,
Robert, I think what Juanita may bring to is in the application, there is a proposal from Advanced Masonry and
Right.
Restoration.
right.
But at least in my application, there's only page 2 of it that doesn't have any figures that relate to the Bridge Street side. It's all about Chestnut Street and Hillman Street. So perhaps we're missing page 1 that will at least have a summary of Bridge Street. Can you get it?
Yeah, yes. I can get that for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what anyway. I only have page 2 of the proposal, and I think it's
Okay.
page 1 that probably deals with. So if you can get us that.
Okay.
Any other questions from committee members?
Rosemary has one.
Is that, Rosemary, you have your hand up, or you just fidgeting with your cam?
You're on mute, Rosemary.
I don't think Rosemary has a question because she usually puts up the hand sign when she
Yeah,
has.
no, I didn't have a question. My battery was going low, so I had to move it to a charger. So maybe that's what you saw.
Oh,
Okay. As long as your battery's not going low, Rosemary.
No, my battery's still hanging in there. Thank you.
All right, good.
so unless there are any questions from committee members? Any other questions? All right, well, thank you for the presentation. Moving on to the restoration of the former St. Aloysius Convent at 167 Berkshire Street.
Hi, I am homeowner this historical house, 167 Berkshire Street. I'm applying for this restoration, and I have windows. It's in bad condition, windows and porch and doors. And please, can you share my slides, please? My project.
Yes. Yes. I may only have one picture here.
Yeah, my home.
Is
The
that the
porch is,
have?
yeah,
Just this one?
yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, this is my home. In this case, the porch is closed. And before it was open porch. That's why I need to restore the original porch. It's gonna be better. And this project is very for me because the wood is very important. We are gonna see for the other. Can you please next slide? It's PDF
I
document.
I am looking for your slides, but
No, it's PDF document.
do you know the, all right, hold on. Sorry about this. Can you tell me which of these documents, because they don't look like pictures, so
No, pictures is in the same document. Is this PDF document? I don't have the photos is included in the document.
I don't know what you said.
That one is good.
This one, proposal?
No other one in the CPA project 167 Berkshire Street.
This one.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's embedded in here. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, you can see the photos. The windows is in bad condition. I have in total 36 windows to install and 16 windows to replace. And then we have 3 doors and 1 porch. If you need more details, technical details, you have the price, every windows, doors, the other document, okay. This is my prayer. Sorry for my language because my native language is not English. That's why I'm here. My neighbor she's gonna help me any other questions. And this is my first time here. I'm new in this home. I live here only 2 years in this home. Yeah, this photo is balusters is the old in this case the porch. It's protected with the plywood.
1 minute.
Just keep scrolling. Are you, Manuel, are you looking for a replacement or a restoration of these windows? Or is this why you have them here?
Yeah, this windows, everything is original windows. And I'm gonna only restore these windows. I'm not gonna change these windows because it's the original.
Okay.
The porch is the same thing. It's a very old porch, and the balusters is original. Everything is original, but it needs to be opened. Now it's closed because I'm only protecting the wood, the original wood.
Okay, so do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm not gonna say anything. If you have any
Okay.
questions, I'm here with my neighbor.
Thank you. So any questions from committee members? And
Yeah, my first question is, when can I start if this project is approved?
well, no, I'm not asking questions from you. I'm asking if any committee members have questions for you.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I guess I have a question. In your budget, you've got 36 wood windows that you're going to restore. And then
Yeah.
you have 16 vinyl windows, which you want to replace with, I guess, wood windows. So altogether, the house has 52 windows in it. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, okay. All right. Any other questions from committee members? Well, not seeing any hands up. Thank you very much for your presentation. And now we go on to the last presentation of the evening, which is the project on Forest Park Avenue, Straightway to Heaven.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me? I'm having some trouble with my internet.
No, we can hear you.
Great. Okay, bear with me. Hopefully my internet doesn't go out. Okay. So good evening once again. Thank you for this opportunity to present. My name is Katara Robinson. I'm also joined this evening by my pastor, Dr. Sharon Lee, and Roger Robert, a contractor experienced in exterior restoration, who we've been working with on this project. So we are here representing Straightway to Heaven Ministries located at 4 Garfield Street in the Forest Park neighborhood of Springfield, which is in a local historic district as well as a national register district. We are requesting $185,500 in CPA funding to complete exterior restoration work
sorry.
necessary to preserve. I'm
Bob,
sorry.
is she coming in and out on your end, or is it just my end?
No, she's coming in and out.
Okay.
Okay, should I start over? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think we got the gist of what you were saying, so you can
Okay.
just continue.
Okay, so we're requesting $185,500 in CPA funding to complete exterior restoration work necessary to preserve the historic character and structural integrity of our building, which was constructed in 1901. So over time, the exterior of the building has experienced deterioration due to age and weather exposure. Several window sills and exterior casings show significant rot and are no longer able to properly shed water away from the building. In addition, some areas of the cedar shake siding are missing or failing, which increases the risk of water intrusion and further damage to the structure. We have also identified loose and missing crown molding along portions of the exterior. So if these issues are not addressed, continued exposure to the elements will result in further deterioration and a greater loss of historic material. So that is, of course, why we have this application to the CPA. I'll share a few pictures. I'm sure most of you have it in your application, but I just wanted to share a few pictures. You see, it's really to deteriorate. Oh, it's not. Wait a minute. It's not changing for you. It's changing for you. Oh, okay. I don't think it's changing for you.
No.
Are they changing for you all?
Yes, they are. Yeah. You're frozen now. Mm.
Has she disappeared?
Yes, I lost my connection.
Okay.
Am I back? Okay.
I'm back.
All right, let me finish this. Here we go. Okay, so let's see if I can share the rest of the pictures. Let's see. Okay, so right here you can see where
yeah.
Does Roger maybe want to pick it up if her?
I'm happy to if my connection's a little better. If you want to stop her screen sharing, I'll start a screen share over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear Roger better.
You got me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll just go through and highlight some of these pictures here. A lot of these photos are taken with a telephoto zoom lens so that you can see. This may be hard to see from the ground as you're walking by the property. You can see deterioration along the soffit, all along the exterior of the building, the crown molding, the cedar shake. There's some really detailed installations here you can kind of see tucked up under the soffit work. All the windowsills have been catching water over the years. Some of them aren't properly flashed, and you have a failing of the protective membrane here, is the paint as well as the caulking in the ceiling. Openings in the cedar shake siding. You can see the substrate here behind the siding is actually damaged as well. That's going to be a common theme on this property. Again, you can see some additional damage. We do have some stained glass windows here, and when you see damage like this, as you can see in the center mullion here, you presume that there's additional damage in the substrate behind that, potentially the framing members that are supporting those windows. They do carry a little bit of additional weight. Here's some of that crown molding. I almost got it. There was a squirrel coming in and out of this opening when I was there. He got camera shy and disappeared. I tried really hard, but couldn't make it happen. Again, additional damage on the windows. You can see here all the way along this. This is actually the frame of the window here that's damaged. And you can see the sill underneath it is also damaged as well. But this is the window frame itself.
So
Here we
1
are.
minute.
Curved installation on the cedar shake siding. Here you can see water penetration behind the soffit work, causing further damage to this fascia and the crown molding underneath it. Openings in the cedar shake siding. You can see the shake coming loose at various intervals and points. So this is an in-kind repair of any damaged deteriorated wood. We're proposing restoring it with African mahogany, which is naturally rot resistant, with a custom milled profiles to match exactly what's there. What we do is we piecemeal remove the wood, and then we mill it specifically at different lengths to restore, appropriate profiles on all the trim and detail work throughout the property. Katara, if you can jump back in, I know you can speak better to this.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. So beyond its historic significance, this building basically serves an important role in the community as well. providing much needed resources to those in need. So Straight Way to Heaven Ministries also operates a food pantry that is open twice monthly. We also distribute backpacks and school supplies annually. We host free community fun events, health seminars, scholarships for college, and we also serve as a Toys for Tots distribution site during the Christmas season. So preserving these community programs can continue to operate in a safe and stable facility while maintaining an important historic resource within the Forest Park neighborhood. We also have the support of the Springfield Historic Commission, as well as the Springfield Preservation Trust and the Forest Park Civic Association. You can go ahead to the next slide.
Well, you meant your time is up. I mean, I
Okay.
added a whole pile of more time.
Okay, thank you. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from committee members? If you could take down the screen share so I can see everyone, thank you. So I guess I have a question. Is this for the entire campus, or is this only for the, let's call it the sanctuary church building of the campus?
That's the proposal for the entire building. Yeah, it's for the entire campus.
Okay.
It does look like
All
two
right.
structures, but they are joined. And so you can see, you know, so if you look at that front page picture, it does look like two separate structures, but they are connected. So the proposal is for the entire exterior restoration of the buildings on the property.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions of committee members?
Yeah,
Okay.
Roger has stated that in one of the pieces that there's it's a common problem. Is once you fix it, is this going to be something that is going to break apart again? That particular section that you said that it was a common problem. Once
No.
you
That's a great question. That's a great question. There's advancements in technology, and it's not really technology, but it's installation methodology in terms of how we prevent water intrusion, overlapping of joints and openings and things of that nature. So, you know, the trays have come a long way in the, you know, a couple, you know, 100-something years since the property was built. Well, again, we're looking to durable debt restoration that will stand the test of time. These, you know, our big thing here is we want to have enough to be able to go in to make the appropriate repairs to the substrate as necessary to protect it from further water intrusions by way of additional barriers, moisture barriers, and then reinstall the woodwork that is, again, naturally rot resistant, flash appropriately. And then also this proposal is caring for an entire, you know, sealing of the whole all the surfaces. It's full paint and sealing, scrub down, and to restore that protective membrane. I mean, our first line of defense on water intrusion is always that paint and that protective exterior application. And then from there, everything else has to be, you know, installed correctly as well.
Okay, question. I know that you guys said that this is for the whole campus. Now, is the whole campus historic or just one building is historic?
So it's all one building. It's not two separate buildings. It's all one building.
Oh, it's all one whole building.
Yes,
So in
it is.
there you have a community room, you have living facilities, and
No, there's no living facilities in there.
no. So okay, so nobody, there's nothing in there like that. It's just a church and a community place.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got you.
There's like a fellowship hall on one side, and there's actually um, two meeting areas. So there's one meeting area in the sanctuary and another meeting area on the other side. And there's like a community, a fellowship hall and things like that, where we have community events and things.
Now, are we the only people you reached out for, or committee have reached out for the funds? Meaning, if you wasn't to get the 195,000, are you looking to, are you seeking other funders, or are you getting money some other way? I see that you have
So
10,000 from the church itself, but
yeah, the church is going to put forth $10,000. Of course, we would always reach out if we knew other places where we could apply for the funds. Like currently, we don't know anywhere else where we could get the funding, but of course, we would love to reach out to anybody who is willing to help if we have that as an option.
and how much would this, if you was only to get half of the money, how much would this set you back on that project? Meaning that you could only do half of it, or you couldn't do none of it. Could you do some of the project and then maybe next year do the rest?
I'm sorry, Yolanda, I missed the first part of your question. Could you repeat that? My internet is still acting crazy.
Sorry, maybe Roger could answer it to it if he heard me. If she wasn't to get the whole 195,000, say that she just got 100,000 or something like that, is that going to be something that's going to hold up the entire project, or some of it can get done and then maybe weatherize until next year, or
Yeah,
is that?
I think if we would have to adjust kind of the scope of work to, you know, if we had a budget set, then I would adjust the scope of work to be as meaningful, as impactful as possible, working within that budget. There's obviously economies of scale when we're able to tackle the whole project all at once. You know, a lot of this work, again, hard to tell in the pictures, but it's very high work. This is work from a lift, or, you know, or scaffolding or very tall ladders in order to do that. So the equipment rentals alone can be a substantial part of a project. So, you know, we would, again, adjust accordingly to make the best usage of the funds to protect as much as we could. But it's hard for me to say at this point how far we could get. I would estimate we could probably do the exterior sill work and woodwork, but I don't think we'd have the money to paint it, to finish it, and I don't think we could touch the cedar shake siding work at all if it was, say, half of that. Or maybe we could flip-flop that, maybe just do the cedar shake and not touch the wood rot. I'd have to really, you know, we get sharp pencils out and take a look at the budget that was allocated and figure out how we can be most impactful. Maybe an elevation, you know, I might tackle an elevation or two where we focused on the front streetscape or the side streetscapes, the sides that had the greatest damage. That might be a reasonable way to attack it.
Of course, one of the biggest concerns is further damage, right? So not addressing it as soon as possible, of course, could lead to further damage and more expense in the long run, you know? So that's always something to think about as well.
Thank you.
Hey, any
You're
other
welcome.
questions?
Thank you.
Willie,
Thank you
do
for
you
the
have a question?
opportunity.
Well, I did, but I think it was
No,
answered.
Juanita, I asked if Willie had his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Willie, did you have a question, or are you just waving at me? Yeah. No? So now you're muted, Willie. So I'm assuming you didn't have a question. All right, Juanita?
No, to me, I was looking, I don't have the budget with me right now, but I remember when I looked at it, the 195,000, that just, you'd be able to do all of that work for that money.
Yeah.
Okay. Just seemed like so much work.
It is a lot, and a lot of it's piecemeal. But you know, we're not replacing entire elevations of cedar shake, right? That would be cost prohibitive. The project wouldn't be feasible at that point. It would be, you know, it could be $1 million in cedar shake work to fix that build, you know, wholesale. But I believe we can be very responsible in terms of how we attack it. Really focusing on the areas of the greatest concerns, the greatest exposures, and the greatest deterioration. And like I said, be very efficient about how we approach it. You know, we are experienced. We've done a lot of cedar shake work. We have done a lot of historic restoration work, you know, in and around Springfield. So we are very confident that we can do that work at that price. You know, to be fair and in full disclosure, you know, this is work that we really do love. I'm a bit of a preservationist myself, and so we do tend to discount services accordingly where possible to support a project like this. You know, this is a cornerstone of the Forest Park community, in my opinion. You know, we've all seen this building for forever. As you're going down that corridor there, you know, it's a very memorable building. So if we can have a hand in restoring it, preserving it for the next generation, you know, we're happy to support that, you know, any way we can.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything on there now to preserve it from all the rain and that we're having now? Is there anything like caulked into those little areas where it's not taking in these April storm and April showers? Like last night was terrifying, right? Like, is there anything on there now that's being protected while you're waiting for the money to come in to do the full work?
We haven't installed any stop loss measures at this point. I do know there are a number of storm windows that were installed over some of the more damaged window frames. There, a number of the windows are protected with single pane glass storm windows. But I haven't done anything else to further protect any other water infiltration or intrusion. Those pictures that you saw were taken a month or two ago. I'm gonna estimate that's current condition.
Okay, any other questions from committee members? All right, so hearing none, thank you very much for your presentation. That concludes the interviews for tonight. We will be having the rest of the presentations on April the 7th. And we'll now go into a very brief remaining business meeting of the committee. Everyone's welcome to stay on, but you're also welcome to leave if you want, other than the committee members. So the item that we have to deal with is adopting the minutes from the previous meeting. If we could have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
All
Second.
right. The second, we'll now take a roll call vote. Steve,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Juanita,
Yes.
Yolanda,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Rosemary,
I wasn't there, so I'm passing.
all right, and Che.
Yes.
All right. Karen, we don't have any contract amendments, do we?
We
No.
do not, Bob.
Right. So do we have any administrator?
We
update?
do not, Bob.
We
So
like
then-
you, Karen.
Thank
Nice
you.
job.
So we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have
Yeah.
one question, Bob. For the
Okay.
last, I thought that when we do it and we break it up, for developers, is it supposed to be a housing or it can just be, work done without housing? I was kind of confused about, the last presentation. Or you can explain that to me offline.
Meaning the
Oh, because it's a church and it's not community housing, is that what?
Yeah.
Well, I tried to divide up the presenters, across the three interviews. So, last time it was all of the recreation open space. Tonight, we did with all of the ones that are community housing. Now, keep in mind that community housing is restricted income housing, and those were maybe the first 5 presenters. So then I started putting some of the people that are coming to us in the historic category. So
Gotcha.
Murray
Okay.
House is under historic, and the Kimball is historic, and the St. Aloysius Convent is under historic, and this is under historic. So
Right.
next
Okay.
will be
I was a little
all
confused. I thought we were going to do it in sections, so I was kind of confused about this last one. But thank you. You clarified it.
yeah, but we had many more historic applicants than we had housing. So rather than have a meeting next time that would have 15 presenters, I split it up.
Thank you, Bob.
With that, we have a motion to adjourn. Everyone say yes.
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 Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. See you next-
Right.
Ginger
I
fry.
got Patty's tie on, but no one could see it.
Now, let's see your tie. All right, you don't have a bow tie on.
I don't have a but I have a
see.
vintage.
See that? I see Yolanda's
Okay.
green.
I got a
Who
green-
else?
I got a
See,
green shirt, too.
Steve has a little bit of an olive green
Yeah,
on.
I'm getting there.
All right, so we'll see everyone on April 7th with the remainder of the
Okay.
applicants. Thanks so
Yes.
much.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.